It started on a quiet Sunday morning in my backyard, where I was just about to enjoy a small, casual cookout. Instead, I found myself staring at a crowd of nearly 40 neighbors, plates and plastic forks in hand, looking like they'd RSVP'd to a banquet, not my humble get-together. One guy even pulled out a fancy reusable container, as if he was at some upscale event. A little kid nearby smacked their lips eagerly, and an older lady gave me a friendly wave like she was the guest of honor. Leading the pack was Beth, oversized sunglasses perched on her nose, chunky costume jewelry dangling from her neck, and that infamous clipboard she carried everywhere like she was running a state dinner. She stood front and center like a general ready to command the troops. The problem? I hadn't invited any of them. I was still in my slippers and bathrobe, barely ready to greet anyone. Before I could say a word, someone yelled from the back, "Grills fired up, let's eat." And just like that, the crowd burst into cheers. That's when I realized the worst mistake wasn't that they showed up hungry, but that Beth had taken it upon herself to turn my quiet afternoon into the neighborhood's biggest free-for-all, all without asking. And I was about to serve a response hotter than anyone expected. 2 days earlier, I planned a simple barbecue for a handful of friends. Nothing flashy, just some ribs, smoky wings, and a few burgers, something to unwind after a brutal work week. I even cleaned the grill and set up the picnic table just right. Cooking is my therapy. It quiets my mind. That Saturday was supposed to be my break. Then Beth marched into my backyard without knocking, breezing through the side gate as if she owned the place. Her heels clicked aggressively on the patio like a marching band. I turned with a polite, confused smile. She didn't return it. Instead, she scanned my setup with a critical eye and nodded like she discovered a hidden gem. "Oh, this is perfect," she declared. "Perfect for what?" I asked, holding a bottle of smoked paprika. She tapped her phone like she was typing a press release. "The Summer Block Bash. You're hosting the whole neighborhood now." I blinked. "What block bash?" Beth grinned that dangerous grin, the one that signals you're about to be volunteered for something awful. "I sent out the invite this morning. We're calling it Grill and Chill. Everyone's excited. I told them you're handling all the food. Pulled pork's a must, but if not, just make plenty of wings." I stared. "Beth, I never agreed to any of this." Her smile tightened into a line. "Come on, Jamie. You're always cooking alone. This is your chance to share with everyone. It's community spirit." I opened my mouth to protest, but she cut me off. "Flyers are printed. Group chat's buzzing. You're the star now." I dropped the spice bottle. "You what?" She shrugged. Too late to back out. By evening, my 5 friends were messaging me memes of sardine-packed lawn parties, while strangers texted about bringing karaoke machines, pets, and homemade desserts. Beth's flyer was plastered everywhere, featuring a stock photo of a backyard that wasn't even mine and promising free food and unlimited wings. My name was in bold letters like I was running a local restaurant, not a simple hangout. The next morning, a neighbor I barely knew showed up with napkins and a grin. "Can't wait for the grill off," she said. "Heard your wings are legendary." I was stunned. Then, inspiration struck. I wasn't canceling. I was turning the heat up, literally. I called my college buddy Omar, who runs a small hot pepper farm. He laughed when I told him about Beth's takeover. "Let me guess. HOA drama?" I explained everything. He promised to overnight me his hottest peppers, ghost chilies, and his secret dragon's breath sauce. I prepped like a warrior, gearing up with goggles, gloves, and an apron that read Chief Spice Officer. I set up hidden cameras around the yard, front porch, and even across the street to catch the spectacle from every angle. I made 2 trays of wings, one labeled Friendly Heat with mild sauce, and the other Dragons Beware marked clearly with Consume at your own risk. I printed waivers for anyone daring enough to try the fiery batch. When the crowd arrived, it was like a summer festival exploded in my backyard. Teenagers set up speakers, kids chased beach balls, and neighbors brought folding chairs. Beth appeared last, decked out in a wide-brimmed hat and still clutching that clipboard, barking orders like she was the party CEO. As guests rushed to the wing station, I handed out plates, pointing to the warning signs. Most laughed it off, including Beth, who scoffed, "I eat spicy food all the time. This'll be a breeze." She took 3 wings and bit into one with gusto. Then everything changed. Her face went red, eyes widened, and she clutched her clipboard like it was a lifeline. She started fanning her mouth, her headset slipping off. She tried to keep cool, but was soon gulping soda that only made things worse. Nearby, a man raced to the garden hose, spraying water into his mouth, while another neighbor knocked over the salsa bowl in a coughing fit. Kids screamed, "Fire chicken," and threw their plates in the bushes. Beth finally pointed a trembling finger at me. "What did you put in these?" I shrugged. "Ghost peppers." "Didn't you read the signs?" Someone shouted, "Milk! We need milk!" Chaos ensued as a jug of almond milk was passed around like a lifeline. I watched the madness unfold with a quiet grin. This was the revenge Beth didn't see coming. Later, I uploaded the footage online. No edits, just raw, fiery truth. Beth's transformation from confident hostess to red-faced fire victim was viral gold. The community split between laughter and outrage, but I had proof Beth hijacked my day and paid the price. The HOA board got involved, and Beth filed complaints. But with my documented waivers and visible warnings, the board ruled in my favor. Beth stormed out of the hearing like a thundercloud, leaving her lawyer cousin trailing behind. Weeks passed. Beth went quiet. No more patrols or passive-aggressive notes. The neighborhood's tone softened. I even got invited to headline the annual cookout event, this time on my terms. No surprises, just good food and good company. At the big day, Beth showed up without her usual drama. No clipboard, no commands, just a quiet nod as she waited in line like everyone else. When she took her plate, she smiled faintly and ate quietly, blending in for once. I gave a short speech about community, respect, and warnings on spicy food. People cheered. Some joked about warning signs on my driveway. That night, with Max at my feet and the last light fading from the street, I updated my food blog subtitle to "Recipes for Everyone, Unless Beth's in Charge." The neighborhood had finally exhaled. The fire was out, but the story and the flavor would linger. What started as a simple afternoon of cooking for close friends turned into a full-blown neighborhood spectacle, all because one person took control without asking and assumed generosity meant obligation. Beth's takeover of my quiet barbecue wasn't just a breach of trust. It was a lesson in how entitlement can twist good intentions into chaos. And sometimes, the only way to reclaim your space is with a little fire, literally. But beyond the laughter and the spice-induced chaos, this whole episode revealed something deeper about community. It's fragile, it needs respect, and it thrives on clear communication. Beth didn't just hijack my barbecue. She blurred boundaries and trampled on the meaning of consent. It's easy to forget that generosity doesn't come with an open invitation for everyone to dictate the terms. And when you don't stand up for those boundaries, you end up hosting a crowd you never invited and dealing with the fallout. Yet, what surprised me most wasn't just the mess Beth created, but how the neighborhood eventually rallied. People shared stories, laughed at the madness, and slowly, the tension eased. That's the strange beauty of food. It can divide, but it can also heal. When the smoke cleared and the last wing was eaten, we found common ground again. The cookout that nearly spiraled into disaster ended up becoming a moment of connection, with lessons learned and grudges softened. Beth's silence after the fallout spoke volumes. Sometimes pride gets burned away in the heat of reality, and maybe, just maybe, that's the start of something better. The invitation to host the next big community event was more than a nod of approval. It was a chance to rewrite the story, to turn conflict into camaraderie. In the end, it wasn't about who won or lost, but about reclaiming respect and reminding everyone that kindness has limits. And if those limits are crossed, well, sometimes the best response is to turn up the heat and watch the truth come to light. And as the embers cooled, I realized this was more than just a spicy showdown. It was a story about standing your ground, finding humor in chaos, and the power of community when it truly comes together.